I suppose it's what it represents, the history of the game. The first contest between Australia and England, it's just, you're just part of that history. Yeah. And I suppose that little Ashes urn just signifies that. So when you get given a replica, or you get to go and see it at the Lord's Museum, or any time it's mentioned, it's just it's a special feel. It's hard to describe other than that. I always reckon the real one's locked up somewhere in some bank vault. How they always say, the one on show at the Lord's ground is the actual urn. I doubt that very much. Because, what's to stop someone just, a smash and grab type thing. It's a nothing looking thing, isn't it? But it just represents so much history. It's special, but it's Steve Waugh's made it the iconic situation that we find ourselves in now. The guys have to almost sign a stat deck to get another one. Trade in the old one for the new. Because I can remember going back in time, we were given, 2 to go away with. So I've got my first cap, and that's proudly displayed in my office, at home. So the first one, very special. But it's worn. I probably wore it for 90, 100 test matches of 150. And that was my, primary thing. But then it started to get a bit faded and jaded. So, it got retired. But because it's your first, you hang on to it like gold. But I swapped caps over series. I've got David Gower's caps. I've got, Jarvid, me and Dad. I've got, different players that I've played against from all the different countries. We swapped them. And I've given a couple away to, special people that, were involved in my cricket career. So, I would have had a dozen or more caps, if not more, that, because we were given 2 caps almost every tour. One to play and one to swap. And I think with, Stephen Waugh's efforts, I suppose, is the thing, he's made the baggy green cap, this iconic thing. He was the sort of the sergeant major that we needed, that sort of very competitive as a cricketer and stoic in the way he went about training us and coaching us. Back to basics sort of stuff, relentless on fielding drills and drills for, fitness related, but was all to do with catching the cricket ball. Batting and bowling in the nets, it was a bit more structure to how we went about things, a bit more structure about game plans,
so just
that type of stuff.
Kicked in.
Yeah, but he was the sergeant major. If you stuffed up, he was the one who came down hard on you. And from my point of view, that was good for me to be able to concentrate on captaincy and bowling the right bloke at the right time and just creating the environment around the dressing room is a bit easier. That you don't have to be butting heads with everyone. That was Simo, and he was fantastic. I consider myself a bit of a battler. I got the most out of my ability. No, I think I did. I really do think that because I look at Lara, Gower, Sobers, guys that sort of influenced me. That Sobers going back in time when I was young. They just had that natural ability and flair, which I know I didn't have. So I understood my game very well. So, I knew how to accumulate runs and play 2 or 3 shots well. The rest was just knock it around. The eye-hand coordination, I suppose that's developed over years because I played baseball in my younger days. So that I found that a handy sort of marriage between baseball and cricket. The throwing skills, the fielding skills, the cross-bat shot skills, the eye-hand coordination type scenario. I think if you tested my reaction time, it'd be probably worse than most. I don't know, but I don't think there's any telltale things. I think I worked out my game, and I knew I couldn't be as flamboyant as a David Gower. I had to be, you know, I skinned the cat a different way. The only thing I felt was that, you know, the Australian way, if you like, is from the very first ball of the match, you're trying to think of ways to win the game. England, I always felt that their thought process was, how do we get in a position not to lose the game, and then we'll try and win it. And to me, it's a subtle difference in mindset. To me, it is. But it's not necessarily that both ways are not right in their own way, but I just felt that's the subtle difference between the way we play cricket compared to England. It's a funny term, sledging, because it always invokes with me, you know, swearing and, you know, in your face confrontation. That to me is sledging. You know, banter, on the other hand, where it's just chit chat out in the field, or geez, you're getting, you know, close to that one AB, you know, outside your off stump, or some, you know, just some throwaway line. You know, it's a nothing comment, but on TV it looks like you're being chirped. There hasn't been too many, you know, good sledges, I don't reckon. Like Mervyn he gets a bit irate and he drops a few magics here and there, and a few of the fast bowlers can be like that. Yeah, well, they would, but I'm just trying to think if there's anything. Can't remember England or West Indians, or we're probably, you know, or have been the leaders of the, you know, the verbal chit chat out in the field. But we're getting our comeuppance at the moment. I think, you know, the other sides are starting to play us at our own game and play it a bit better than us at times. I would say occasional things out in the field, but I didn't chirp too much. Sometimes I'd chirp my own players a bit more than opposition players. Both. Yeah, I think, you know, it builds character because you've got the highs and lows. So you've got to, you know, learn how to cope with that. You know, there's one thing being a good winner, but you've also got to be a good loser as well. So, you know, there's that scenario. So that will build character, but also it shows character as to, you know, how you cope with the pressures that you're faced with, the expectations, your own plus the team. Get yourself in different situations in matches. And it's you know, how you cope, and it really reveals your character. So to me, it sort of builds and defines.